mono blue, which I think historically is a pretty tough matchup for Burn.
Well, it's a matchup mainly because of one card, and that card is Master Waves. As we see here on the board, this is game 2. Phillips has resolved a Master Waves, which means he has at least 10 power on the board. He's getting beaten down by a pair of Chandra's Phoenixes, but the life totals are such that it looks like Phillips is going to be able to pull away.
Yeah, we're going to take a look here. I mean, you see that there's Master and 4 of the tokens out there, so that's 10 damage right there. He also has a Nykthos among those lands, even though it's not going to generate a mana advantage at this point for Phillips. We'll see some attacking probably take place here. Want to make sure we do have the life totals updated here at 15 to 12. However, here is your attack with the elemental tokens and its leader in Master of Waves.
Yeah, that'll put Chilbert all the way down to 5. He's going to need 2 4-damage burn spells to make this a lethal attack next turn.
So running Boros Charms maybe?
War Leader's Helix can do a Boros Charm impression as well. He's got 2 cards in hand. It looks like he's got...
I think he's got 2 War Leader's Helixes in his hand. He can't cast them both right now.
Yeah, I was going to say he can't cast them both. I don't even know if he can... Well, if he can chump block to save himself here. So, yeah, I think it's just an unfortunate situation. You can go up to 9, but it looks like he's just going to be taking too much damage.
Yeah, now the Phoenix is back on defense, and that's the really telling thing, right? If he's not attacking with the Phoenixes, that means he's blocking with them, and that means that he's got to go upstairs or shoot creatures with the War Leader's Helixes just to stay alive. So there's a good chance of moving to a 3rd game here. I'm actually a little surprised that Chilbert was able to win the first one, honestly. I think this is a really tough matchup for Burn.
It certainly is not a matchup that Burn's a big fan of. Mainly because, it can't really interact with Master Waves, and the card is, becomes like, what, a 10-10 for 4, more or less.
Cloudfin Raptor pre-combat does fulfill the devotion needs for Thassa, so now that is live. 2 from the Weird, 1 from the Master, 1 from the Raptor, and 1 from Thassa itself. Now, chances are War Leader's Helix is going to shoot down this Frostmourner to turn off Thassa, but again, that's not that's just a play he has to make. It isn't the most appealing play here.
Yeah, it's not the play he wants to make. I mean, yeah, he's doing it to stay alive. Here's up with Chilbert up to 9, takes care of Frostmourner Weird, turns off Thassa.
Has to do blocking here in a moment. Would have been a really nice play if he actually spins the Weird 3 times, or 4 times, to kill itself.
Right.
No life would be gained, and it would actually be a lethal attack.
Yes. Yeah, that would actually work. He's going to chump with both Phoenixes, trade them with elemental tokens, puts Chilbert down to 3, and there's a lot of power on Phillips' side of the board.
Chilbert going to take a draw here in just a moment. Again, his last card in his hand is a copy of War Leader's Helix. He draws a card. May have been another copy of War Leader's Helix. Not entirely sure what that was. Potentially an Ash Zealot. Looks like it's a Satyr Fire Dancer. That's actually a pretty good draw here. Yeah, I don't hate that.
Yeah, you can Fire Dancer, you can War Leader's Helix, Jase, and one of Jase's creatures. One of his creatures. He can buy back both his Chandra's Phoenixes. There's a line to be had for Chilbert. It's not a good one, but I don't think he's not dead on the board.
Now, this is one of the cards that, again, this matchup is actually pretty tough for Red-White Burn. However, this is one of the cards that actually can sway things back in your favor because Mono Blue Devotion has a very difficult time getting this creature off of the table. And so now your burn spells get to do 2 things when they shouldn't be able to do that. Now, Judge's Familiar is going to come in here, and I think you're going to have a response to that.
Yeah, you have to do it in response so that it doesn't get countered.
Yes. Now, the question is, where do you go with this? You probably go towards Cloudfin Raptor?
Yeah, Cloudfin Raptor. He chose an elemental token. I think you want to do Cloudfin to decrease the devotion to blue on the board.
That's the reason that I would want to do it. The Phoenixes are going to come back to the grip now. Phillips is at 8. Chilbert at 7.
Right.
I wonder if Satyr Fire Dancer is going to be on blocking duty here.
Yeah, see, if Jase Phillips has another blue mana symbol in his hand, he can play it, activate Thassa to make her unblockable, and present a lethal attack.
Satyr Fire Dancer going to block immediately. Don't like the fact that gets to block there when you have excess mana with a Thassa to make creatures unblockable. Now, if he's holding up a counterspell like a Dissolve or something, that's a different story entirely.
Yeah, it's possible Phillips wants that trade to happen too.
That's true. That's true. Skullcrack the draw here.
Well, we've got a pair of Phoenixes and a Skullcrack. Remember, 1 blue permanent, however, is enough to turn that devotion back on.
Yep.
Now, if you're...
Oh, that explains it. Cyclonic Rift is the last card. So,
All right.
That
that'll
just
do it,
does,
yeah.
yeah. That is presumably why he left the mana available, is because, you know, the ability to bounce something or overload Cyclonic Rift gets the job done. So Jase Phillips is going to win game number 2 here. And so we're going to head to a third one here between Burn and Mono Blue Devotion, basically with top 8 on the line right now.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen Chilbert play very well throughout the day. We did see him pick up 1 loss, but also a pair of wins. This is one of the tougher matchups for him and the red-white Burn deck. You did see he has the Satyr Fire Dancers, a full play set of those out of the sideboard. And they seem to be pretty important in the matchup. Almost what's more important is that he needs to hope that Phillips doesn't draw Master of Waves.
Yeah, I mean, that's the big one. But with Thassa, the ability to scry and actually find one or even mulligan towards one is almost worth it. Now, the big thing here is the Satyr Fire Dancers. I think he actually swaps out Ash Zealots for that card because realistically, Ash Zealot's just not going to get in.
Yeah, there's a lot of things. Ash Zealot can be tapped by a Tidebinder Mage. It can be blocked by a Frostburn Weird. It can be blocked by a Night Veil. The card really is not good at getting in this matchup.
Now, Fire Turn Crusader is another card. Has the same problems as Ash Zealot. I'd say even has worse problems since, you know, when you block or it gets blocked, you end up taking damage in what it looks to be a racing matchup. Viashino First Blade don't love in this matchup. Like Chain of the Rocks a lot because it contains Masters of Waves.
Yep.
And there are 2 in the main, 2 in the board, so I expect the other 2 to come in. And then the 2 copies of Blind Obedience don't really matter very much. So a pretty easy 6 are going to come here in 4 Satyr Fire Dancers and 2 Chain of the Rocks. I think you board out 4 Ash Zealots, so you have to find 2 other cards to board out. Maybe some combination of Burn Spells or Boros Charms or something.
Yeah, I'm not positive how good Skullcrack is in the matchup. There isn't life gain coming out of the mono blue decks. You're just paying. It's like it's a 2-mana Lava Spike.
Maybe Shock is a little too few damage.
Yeah, Shock may also. I'm not sure whether you want big burn or efficient burn. So it's like Shock or yeah, it would be like either Shock or Skullcrack.
Yeah, maybe Warleader Helix, but we saw him cast 3 that game, so presumably those are all left in Chilbert's deck. On Phillips' side, anything interesting to board in?
Well, on Phillips' side, he has what you'd expect out of a mono blue devotion deck. I think Dispel's pretty good here. There's a lot of instants coming out of Chilbert's deck. Just some regular counter magic. Dispel, negate, dissolve may be too expensive actually to do. Other than that, I like, you know, Jay's Architect of Thought is fine, not particularly impressive in the matchup. A lot of the cards that are in his main deck really, he just wants to go forward with his proactive game plan.
Yeah, I think Dispel is a beautiful card to bring in here. I don't like Dissolve. I would like Dissolve if I were on the play. I hate it when I'm on the draw.
Right.
Because I think when you're on the draw, you're just trying to curve out and catch up. And I think that's all that actually ends up mattering here. So I would actually leave those out.
Yeah, agreed. And so Dispel and Negate, I think, are the cards you probably would bring in.
So we'll see how players do sideboard here. Chilbert ready. Phillips going to finish shuffling up. And again, 1 game basically for it all.
Now, Chilbert gets to be on the play here, which will help him out a lot. Because he doesn't have access to the Ash Zealots, he really just becomes a straight burn deck. Even those pseudo-burn creatures he has become less in this matchup. As you said, you know, Ash Zealot doesn't really attack anymore. Now it's just Satyr Fire Dancer, Chandra's Phoenix, and burn spells.
Fire Dancer is so good in the matchup, though. Gotta love Fire Dancer. Just basically no removal there. 1 rapid hybridization in the main deck, 2 more in the board. But boarding those in definitely has a cost as well.
Yeah,
there aren't a lot of creatures.
You're putting him in against an 8-creature deck.
Yeah. Phillips not sure if he wants to keep his hand. Chilbert looks like he's good to go. Got the game face on. Actually, he's going to send it back, so he's not through with how things are looking. Again, this isn't a deck that mulligans all that well either. You have to remember that. The burn deck is looking for a combination of cards to take you from 20 to 0. It's kind of a combo deck in that regard.
Yeah, it's like you can describe it as a combo deck. The combo is if I cast 6 spells, I win the game.
Yeah,
that was 6
basically.
or 7.
Yeah.
They have to be these specific ones, but yeah.
Phillips looks like he's going to keep his hand, so he's going to wait here for Chilbert to finish mulliganing. We'll see if he goes any lower than 6 in just a moment. So,
yeah, harder to resolve 6 spells if you start with a smaller hand.
Let's not forget, too, Colin Chilbert. You know, we think of him more of a legacy player than a standard player. Again, a High Tide master, someone I'm sure you'd love to sit down with and talk about the deck. He has a Open Series top 4 with the deck, also has a Grand Prix top 4 with High Tide. So he has been really good at adding a lot of blue mana to his pool in Legacy over the years. And with any luck, we'll get to see him tomorrow really in action with the deck, as we don't get to see High Tide a ton on camera. So I'd be really interested to see him, who's one of the pioneers of the archetype, really play tomorrow.
Yeah, certainly I'd say, you know, I had a chance to play it last week. It's a deck that's fallen out of favor, I would say, in Legacy for the most part.
For sure.
There are very few people playing it right now. But yeah, it'll be exciting to get to see it on camera.
How is the Delver matchup for that deck?
A little poor, but not unwinnable, but not great.
Okay. Delver decks are so popular in Legacy right now. You have to be able to beat those, I think, to have any success.
Yeah, I mean, nothing's like amazing against Delver, which is why Delver is just such a good deck.
Yeah, that's why it's so frustrating. 6 cards coming here for Colin. Let's see if he can find 6 cards he likes. I think Satyr Fire Dancer is the card he really needs to get himself back into this.
All right, and looks like he's keeping on 6, starting on Sacred Foundry.
Phillips will take a draw here. Again, he kept his 7. He's going to lead off with an island. Does he have a 1-drop? He does not. So Chilbert will untap. He'll take a draw. See if he's got the Fire Dancer to play.
Yeah, what's important from Phillips' side is that he has a curve of some sort. You know, he wants to you need to put a clock on the burn deck, because if you give them enough time, like I said, it's a race to can you resolve. I'm going to throw 6. That's a number I'm guessing. Can you resolve 6 spells? Maybe 7.
Yeah, maybe 7.
7's probably better. Yeah, can you resolve 7 spells? So, you know, right. And the best way to stop your opponent from doing that is to play your own game, like have a good proactive game plan.
Well, it's resolved 1, and it's a very scary one in this matchup for Phillips. Because any creature he plays, he has to assume it's just going to die. So that's actually terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, he certainly, when you're looking at cards like these Tide Binder Mages in his hand, he can't be happy about having this card.
And the thing is, like, if you don't cast that, then you're actually letting Satyr Fire Dancer do something which it rarely gets to do, which is attack for damage. So that even adds up as well. Like, you think of this thing as something that just shoots down stuff, which for the most part it does, but you can't actually let that thing attack for damage either. Here's a Magma Jet.
Yeah.
That's going to go upstairs and then take care of that.
Magma Jet, the card's really good. Magma Jet becomes 2 to the dome, 2 to the creature, scry 2. Pretty efficient card there. Chilbert, I believe, drew that for the turn.
Yep.
So he wasn't able to scry during upkeep. He actually did not hit his 3rd land either, which could be problematic. He has a pair of War Leader's Helixes in hand right now, so.
Yeah, he's looking for lands right now. Here comes Thassa. Chilbert going to take a draw here.
Yeah, and this, because Jase Phillips tapped out for that Thassa, it gave Colin a chance to get in for damage with the Mutavault if he chose to. But he has much greater designs.
Yeah, I like resolving a second Satyr Fire Dancer here. So now, again, any creatures are just going to be taken care of. This is, again, where things do get really scary. If you're Phillips, Chilbert going to play a Boreal Guildgate, pass the turn back, working his way towards 4 mana. Thassa will allow Phillips to start his turn off with a Scry. Top card is going to go on the bottom. So a mystery card coming here for the Mono Blue Devotion player. We'll see what he's able to find.
Yeah, so these Fire Dancers really take care of any creature that Phillips could make, except for Thassa and Master of Waves. You know, once in, if Phillips just has a slew of Master of Waves, that will still be good enough.
Not the first time Master of Waves has beaten a red deck, I can promise you that much. The interesting thing here is that even though Master of Waves would be a really annoying problem, the tokens really probably wouldn't be.
No, he could kill all the tokens.
Yeah. There is the Master of Waves. Devotion count is 2. Now, the one thing Master will do here is that it will actually stop the Satyr Fire Dancer from attacking.
Exactly. Well, it only takes 1 burn spell to kill all the elementals. But you're absolutely right that he has stopped things. You know, the Fire Dancers won't be able to attack.
Question, does he have the burn spell again? He's got 2 copies of War Leader's Helix in his hand.
It's a great burn spell, but unfortunately does not have the 4th land.
What do you do here? I'm not really sure the other contents of his hand right now. He's tapping at least 1. Chain of the Rocks would be ideal. But I think if he had that, he would have cast it
Well, if he has something like Shock, that would be pretty good here. He could shock Jase and both elementals and then swing with Mutavault, offering to trade that for the Master of Waves.
I don't hate that exchange.
Yeah, I think that is it.
All
so
right.
Shock at Jase, at Elemental, and at Elemental. Totally reasonable.
I wonder if he's going to offer up the Mutavault trade. When he's trying to get the 4 mana.
That's spell number 4 of the game so far. Perhaps the theory, you know, maybe the Fire Dancers seem to be screwing up that theory. But okay.
I'm not too surprised to not see him offer up the Mutavault. Like, I think it would be a very... It'd be a very interesting attack. Like, I don't think it's wrong, and I could see myself doing it. But if my opponent just called my bluff and is like, okay, I'll block my Master Ways, and I'm trying to work my way towards 4 mana, I would be really upset.
Yeah, if Chilbert didn't have the pair of War Leader's Helixes, I think that would be a trade he'd want to make.
Yeah.
But when you have 2 Helixes, you can't really do that.
Yeah.
You need to cast those if you want to win.
I think there's a way to make that attack that is in your favor. You know, you just confidently attack with your creature. And,
Sure.
you know, I dare you to block it with your pro-red creature against my all-red deck.
All right. Well, Phillips attacks with both Master Waves and Mutavault. He risks the Mutavault to a burn spell, but it's a burn spell that Chilbert does not have.
Yeah. It'd have to be a 3 damage. I guess it'd have to be a 3 damage burn spell, but even something like Skullcrack would get the job done on it, so. since it does have +1/+1 because of the Master of Waves. But again, something like a Skullcrack or a Lightning Strike would have gotten the job done. So
yeah, so Chilbert at 15. So Phillips looks to just be racing back at the moment.
I think that's what he should be doing. If he can get damage, and he should.
Yeah, he can't give Chilbert all day.
Colin going to take a draw here. It's the land.
There you go. It's land number 4. And that's being allowed. Yeah, it looks like it's allowed these Satyr Fire Dancers to get in for some damage.
Yeah, I think that's the big point, right?
Yep.
So he's going to attack here for 2. Phillips is going to go down to 13.
Yeah, and these guys are just 1/1s. You have to, like, that's still relevant. Every point counts in this matchup, especially when your opponent's just trying to, like, count to 20. You know, that's a 1/10 of your life total right there.
Top card's going to go to the bottom here for Phillips. He will draw a card. Looks like a Cloudfin Raptor was picked up here.
Yeah, if I'm Phillips, I'm wary of racing here because it looks like his hand is not well suited to race.
But if that's the only way he thinks he can win.
I mean, you have to have some sort of, you have to have a proactive game plan. And I guess that's fair. You know, he can't wait until he activates Thassa, for example, because Chilbert has the ability to burn out all his creatures.
Hey, here's an attack for 5 more.
And War Leader's Helix is going to do quite a number.
Well, it's not going to do as much as you think because this is a negate to counter that.
So it's going to do nothing.
Yeah. Now, the next one is going to be good as Chilbert's going to take 5 and go down to 10. That next one actually gets to clear up a lot of stuff, assuming that the next turn looks like this one did, which is firing a Mutavault and attacking. So Chilbert's going to untap. He's going to take a draw here in just a second.
Yeah.
See if he can find anything useful. That's another land. Now, he doesn't want to draw any more of those. And now here's an attack here for, looks like 2. So here come the Fire Dancers. And this is the Sacred Foundry he picked up for this turn. He's holding one other red card.
Yeah, he has a War Leader's Helix. He didn't, you know, of note is that he didn't attack with the Mutavault that turn. If you're Phillips, you have to take notice of that.
Yeah, if he's scrying right now, he's got to be looking for another counterspell, I think.
Counterspells seem great here. Another Master of Waves would be the complete prize.
Yeah, it'd be huge. A card like this spell is like the ultimate backbreaker.
Yeah.
And it looks like Phillips kept the card that he drew.
And
again, he's got a Domestication in his hand, too.
Yeah, Mutavault is not active at the moment, despite the fact that it's hanging out with the creatures.
He's going to play another Mutavault. Got to tread pretty carefully here. I like Domestication pre-combat a lot.
And I think that's what he's going to do. Domestication. This is on a Fire Dancer. This is before activating his Mutavault.
Yeah, I like this play a lot.
If you're Chilbert, you can Helix now, or you can Helix later. It doesn't actually make a difference. There's only one. You're only going to get one creature with it.
So there's Domestication. Takes care of that. Going to fire at Mutavault. That might be the card he actually cares about killing here in this situation. I guess he does have Devotion now. So he probably has to kill Cloudfin Raptor.
Yeah. Yeah, he needs to take Phillips off Devotion.
Yeah. He has to kill that.
So this is spell number 5 that's resolved. It's going to put Phillips down to 7. He'll turn off the Thassa, but Chilbert is going to take 5, gain 4. He'll drop to 9.
This isn't the worst exchange.
I'm assuming here that it hits Cloudfin Raptor.
Yeah, me too. Because if he hits Mutavault, it's a disaster.
Yeah, well, then Thassa gets to punch him.
Yeah. And winning this race is so important.
Yeah, I don't think he can win with an online Thassa. Perhaps he's thinking about whether or not... No, I mean, yeah, I was going to say he could hit the Fire Dancer. You wouldn't want to do that yet. So up to 14, he's deciding where that Fire Dancer goes.
Yeah, I think in this particular situation, it has to be the Raptor. Because I know you want to take down Mutavault because, you know, Mutavault over the course of the game is going to be really, really frustrating. But right now, I think you have to take down the Raptor, turn off the Devotion.
I'll throw out a counter here.
Okay.
He's going to go ahead and take care. Yeah, you could take Mutavault that turn. You're only costing yourself 2 life points to do it. And as long as you're committed to killing Fire Dancer later, then you're taking Mono Blue off Devotion, and you're getting rid of the cards you can't deal with.
Here's a Chandra's Phoenix.
Yeah, so Phoenix and Fire Dancer able to attack here. Remember, there is a pair of Mutavaults on Phillips' side.
And they're 3 power Mutavaults.
Yes, and they're 3 power Mutavaults.
Yeah.
These Mutavaults are not messing around. I believe the last card in Chilbert's hand is another mountain.
Oh, this note. Oh, boy.
Yeah, this is not a good place for Chilbert.
How aggressive do you want to get here in this situation? Because he's even got a Mutavault back there. So, like, that's kind of interesting. But at the same time, you know, your opponent gets to look at, you know, potentially 2 cards here from Thassa. One from the Scry, and then if he puts on the bottom a brand new card.
You know, I'm still going off the... So it puts Jase Phillips down to 4 on the attack. Unfortunately, whether or not Chilbert can weather this last attack, his only play is to block with the Mutavault. Which, if Thassa gets online and has enough mana, remember that last card in Phillips' hand is a Nykthos.
Yep, can generate a boatload of mana. That card's
Make
going to
stuff
go
unblockable.
That card's going to go to the bottom. Pick up an island, okay. So he
Very
dodged,
fortunate draw for Chilbert.
he dodged a bullet there. And he's not even out of the woods yet.
No, I mean, 1 burn spell is going to kill him because the burn spell will take down Cloudfin Raptor, go to the dome.
Yeah, good point.
And then Chandra's Phoenix will finish it off.
Yep.
Now, I want to point out something right now. In the game so far, Chilbert has resolved 6 spells.
Okay.
Well, I would say the 7th spell is going to do it on this board. Probably. There's most spells in his deck if he resolves them here. You know, the old I resolve 7 spells combo deck.
Yeah, I mean, there are some kind of misses here. You know, I don't love an additional copy of Chandra's Phoenix. I don't love an additional Satyr Fire Dancer. I don't love Chain to the Rocks. So the burn spells are what's going to get it done, and
Yeah.
Mutavault's going to get fired up here.
Any burn spell.
Yep.
And yeah, I think he's recognizing that he can't deal lethal right now.
Yeah, coming to that realization. Doesn't have the Devotion to turn on Thassa. Had a Nykthos in hand to generate a lot of mana if he's able to do that, but as it stands right now, he has to figure out how he wants to attack with Mutavaults. The Raptor's not coming in because it's not going to grow any, so that'll be on blocking duty, or at least attempt to be on blocking duty. Does he want to attack with Master Waves in the face of a Mutavault? Probably not.
I see no reason to do that. You know, he had that turn 2 cards to basically find anything with a blue mana symbol on it, and he wasn't able to do it. He'll get another shot at it again next turn. I think he just wants to make sure that he lives to next turn, so he wants to leave back cards like Master of Waves.
And there's an island. The attack was a little bit more cautious than maybe I would have liked. That other Mutavault hanging back on defense. But let's see what Chilbert's able to find here. He's going to draw
it's
a card.
burn spell. You see, he has that mountain from last turn, and it's
Boros Charm.
Well, if your opponent's at 4, that's a pretty good card to have.
I mean,
would say.
that's an easy one to cast. In the face of counter magic, it's a different story entirely, but there is no counter spell. And Colin Chilbert is going to win this game with his 7th spell.
7th spell is the one that kills him.
Jase Phillips is defeated by Red-White Burn. And that means Colin Chilbert in 3rd place coming to this round. He wins. There's a very likely chance now, with how many players were here, that he can draw into the top 8. Congratulations to him.
Yeah, congratulations to Colin Chilbert, 9-1 with Red White Burn. As you're saying, likely a lot of these players will be drawing. You know, after all, this was in the realm of 11-round tournaments. This was a smaller 11-round tournament, which means less matches will be happening in the last round.
I suppose it's a ridiculous thing to say, a small 11-round tournament, but here we are. Again, congratulations to Colin Chilbert and Aaron Barrich, too. Both of those players coming to this round, sitting in 3rd and 4th place on our leaderboard. With wins, they were able to make it into the top 8. They both won, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're drawing with each other.
Yeah, pretty decent chance they get paired up and will be able to draw into top 8.
Yeah. So congratulations to both of those guys. We'll bring it back